bullets in his hat.
There's a lot more we can do. We're not out of ammunition by a long shot. No, there's really no limit to what we can do with these lending programs that we have.
Powell says the recovery will be a slow one. Wall Street's looking up with the news. The S&P futures up 46 points. Overseas, Italy and Spain among the European countries further easing restrictions. We get more from CBS News correspondent Vicki Barker at the foreign desk in London.
Though restrictions remain in hotspots Madrid and Barcelona, most Spaniards will be out of lockdown by the end of this week. In Italy, stores are raising their shutters for the first time in 10 weeks, along with bars, restaurants, and hair salons. And listen to this doctor.
We're doing much better than before, and we are also able to prevent new cases.
Serenaded by a fellow patient, this woman's going home after 20 days in the hospital.
Death stared me in the face, and now it's like being born again.
A feeling shared by millions across Europe. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
In Canada, it was meant to be a show of support.
What? He just crashed. Oh, my God. Yeah. He jumped out, though.
A Canadian Snowbirds performance jet with 2 crew members on board crashed while performing a flyover of Kamloops, British Columbia. It was a tribute to healthcare workers. 1 crew member was killed in the crash. The other is expected to survive. This is CBS News.
Why settle for average? With Capital One, you can open a new savings account with a rate 5 times the national average. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet? Capital One N.A., member FDIC.
When you go to the mechanic in here...
Pass me the torque. Nope, let me have the flamethrower.
That sounds wrong. You know what else sounds wrong? When you hear about the interest they're earning on your savings with the largest banks. But with the Markets by Goldman Sachs online savings account, you could earn much more interest. And hear this. Open a Markets by Goldman Sachs online savings account in minutes at Marcus.com. You can money.
Comparison made to the 3 largest U.S. banks measured by total deposits. Rates as of February 4th, 2020 and may vary by state. Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC.
Who do you believe on the virus? Now, Newsmax TV is revealing the real news on the virus, President Trump's response, and the medical breakthroughs you need to know. Newsmax TV is America's fastest-growing cable news channel in 70 million homes. Watch great shows with Sean Spicer, Mike Huckabee, Michelle Malkin, Alan Dershowitz, and more. Find Newsmax TV on DirecTV, Xfinity, Dish, Spectrum, Optimum, Cox, Fios, Uverse, Suddenlink, Mediacom, WOW, Armstrong, and more. Check your channel guide. Find out why everyone is talking about Newsmax TV.
From the Harty and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Harty and Stalker Jewelers, making memories, making moments.
Here is your KCJJ forecast. Showers this morning. It's going to be cloudy all day, and it's not going to warm up much either. High of 60 this afternoon. The wind out of the north at about 10 to 20. Tonight, cloudy will drop to 51 for a low. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, 68. And then on Wednesday, we'll gradually clear out. High of 72. We're going to keep warming it up. We're talking low to mid-80s by the time we roll into the weekend. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Temperature now 54.
Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washes, Walmart in Iowa City, Coral Mills Hy-Vee, and oh, that's me. Couldn't imagine where that was coming from. This portion of this fine program brought to you by Patrick Eads and everyone at Deary Brothers Ford Lincoln, Steve Anderson, Hawkeye Title and Settlement, Mike's Lock and E-Keys for cars, GT Car and his crew at Supple Siding and Remodeling, Hawkeye Courier Express, Big Dog Satellite, Internet and Solar. Don't call an 800 number. Call Kevin and his crew at Big Dog, a Premier Dish authorized retailer, at 338-6600. Harty and Stalker Jewelers and Cowboy Lawn Care. Pat Harty's here with Tom Suter, and I believe we have Coach Pearl on the line.
Good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
Hey, Pat. Tom, how are you guys doing this morning?
We're doing just fine. How are you doing with this bizarre COVID virus thing going on?
Well, I just turned 60 this year. It's hard for me to believe, and I would imagine when I got to the Hawkeye State, I was, I guess I was about 26. Wow. Yeah, if that kind of blows you away about how long it's been. So I've been working my whole life. And the last, I guess it's 7 weeks or so now, the pace has obviously slowed down a great deal. And, we the coronavirus has passed over my family and my friends, and thank God I don't. We're healthy, and so is my family. I hope you guys are as well too.
So far, so good, and yep, I've never washed my hands so much as I have in the last 7 weeks. I'll say that.
So, Bruce, this is Pat, and first of all, we appreciate you coming on. We really do. And so, does this make you appreciate basketball and everything that? Not saying you take it for granted, but when you get into a routine like we all do, and when it gets disrupted like this, does it make you even appreciate it even more?
I'd say, look, I miss my players, and that's hard to do because you're on them all the time, and they're challenging you all the time. And it's been a while since I've seen them, so I do truly miss my players and not getting to be with my staff. But I think the biggest thing that jumps out at me is just how fragile our world is. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that blows me away is that something like a virus could shut us down. And, some of this stuff, you look at a science fiction movie and you look at how things change and evolve. And I'm not a huge environmentalist. I'm a pretty conservative guy that leans pretty heavy to the right. But it makes the global warming or the oceans rising or the temperatures increasing or the possibility of a virus shutting us down, it just makes it so much more real, which I think is going to force me and my generation to listen more carefully to this. And then really, truly, it's not about, yes, we got to get back to work and we got to figure out how to live with this because it's not going anywhere. This virus is here and we've just got to survive it. But I'm hoping that we're looking at next time, how can we survive it better? What's coming up next, and what can we do to stop self-destructing? Because a lot of this we've kind of as a race we've kind of put on ourselves.
So do you think sports? Do you think sports has learned anything from this? That when something like this may happen again, things may be different, or do you think sports has handled it about as well as it can under the circumstances?
I mean, I think sports has handled it like our society has handled it.
Okay.
Indoor, everybody in close contact together. It seemed to be obviously the age issues, the pre-existing conditions, the elderly, the ones that are most vulnerable. But we had to shut down. We had to stop gathering in close proximity. You look at the workforces that are in close proximity, or certain gathering. So we've responded. Now, can we lead and open and begin to figure out? All right, we slowed this curve down. The hospitals weren't overrun. And what is it going to look like through the summer? And then what's it going to look like in the fall when we kind of get back to playing football? Because, it looks like it doesn't look like all systems are go down here in the South, but it does look like we're preparing to try and play football, soccer, volleyball this fall.
Well, let's hope.
So have you had discussions with your athletic director, et cetera, about, possibilities of basketball maybe being compromised again this fall, maybe playing without fans? Have you had those kind of discussions?
Yeah, we are. We have, and it's they're all kind of, as we get more and more information, the latest information is going to be, how we're going to respond and we're going to react. And I do think that, look, being outdoors and being in the nice weather, being in the sunshine, and letting your immune system work has been, even though the football season is going to get here sooner than basketball. Basketball's a winter sport. Basketball's indoors, and the virus is going to, should come. Again, the virus is still here, and it's going to have an opportunity to do better in the colder temperatures, and again in the indoors. And so, what are we going to do in preparation for what's going to happen? When that takes place. I mean, I think. Look, there's always that. You don't take your life into your own hands when you go to an SEC football game. But there's going to be people that are older that have some health issues that may have seen their last live sports event in a while because it's just not safe for them to go out and take a chance. And so we do know it's going to look differently, but I think we're going to do the best we can to safely get our universities back up and running. And but it's going to be different. It's going to be different.
I know some people who are in their early 70s and making that decision right now. Let's shift to a little happier topic here. I wanted to ask, I've heard this story about you when you were leaving Boston College and going out to Stanford to join Tom. You were driving your car. Did it really break down in Iowa City?
It did. It absolutely broke down right on the same exit as ACT and my good friend Mike Gaten's. That's where my car broke down.
Okay.
On Highway 8. It actually didn't break down. I think we got a flat tire.
Okay.
And
wow.
And so what do you do? So we kind of pull over to the side of the road, and I'm actually on my honeymoon, and I'm traveling across the country. It was our honeymoon to go from Boston to Stanford, and we got towed into the Firestone station right downtown there, crossing the across what was the Holiday Inn. I don't know if it's still the Holiday Inn or not, but that's what it was back in the day, and the little parking garage. And we hung out there for a few hours. And I'll tell you what else I did. About a year, 1981. That was 1982. Summer of that was the fall of '82. In the summer of 1981, I was an assistant/manager for the World University Games team, where we won a gold medal in Bucharest, Romania, and Kevin Boyle was on that team. And so Kevin Boyle was a junior or a senior then at Iowa, and when the car was being repaired, I actually got a ride down to the old field house, and I ran into Kevin, and we were able to reminisce a little bit. So not only did I break down or get a flat tire, but it was a great excuse to stop in and see a guy that I coached.
Little did you know in 5-6 years that you would be coming with Tom. What a story. I've always wanted to know if that was true or not. And we had Coach Davis on last week, and it was so much fun speaking with him. And he was in such a good mood and great spirits and what have you. I know this is a real kind of a broad question, but what has he meant to you? I mean, as far as a mentor and getting you to where you are right now?
Well, guys, no matter what you do in life, if you're any good at it, you had to have had a pretty good teacher. And I had one of the best teachers to ever teach the game of basketball or the game of life, in Dr. Tom Davis. You talk about, a guy that, he was smart. He cared about people and cared about people that he was with. He empowered people. He held you accountable. He had a great system and a great belief and a great mind. He loved to compete. And what a fit for the University of Iowa. I don't know that, I just don't know that there could have ever been a better fit for the kind of coach, teacher, person in that part of the country, in that part of the world. And I'll tell you, no matter how Tom has ever been recognized, he's under-recognized. When he was in the game, when he was coaching the game, Tom Davis was one of the top 10 coaches in college basketball almost the entire time he was there, from his days at Lafayette, Boston College, Stanford, Iowa, Drake, he left his impact on the Hawkeye State for sure, and so he's meant everything to me. I'll tell you one quick story. When I left Tom and I became a head coach, I remember it was 92, 93,
yep.
And I was leaving Iowa to go to Southern Indiana, and Tom, he'd give you advice, but he would do it by example. But when I left him, this is one thing he told me. He said, listen, if you want to go run what we ran, then go do that, because that's what you know how to teach. So many coaches will go to clinics and they'll listen, they'll learn. Oh, that looks good. Oh, that's great. Let's try that. We'll do it. And you put it all together, it doesn't fit. And that's why everything Tom Davis did had to fit into his system. And he tweaked his system, but it all fit. So he said, you can go ahead and do what we do. But he said, don't try and be me. Be you. I'm about as different as anybody from Tom. I'm not as smart as he is, but I'm a little louder. I'm not very private. But his point was this: it's okay to bring your own personality. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. That way you have to act. Mm-hmm. I've never had to act a day in my life because, for better or worse, this is who I am. At the same time, I'll teach what I was taught. And if you want to ever pay me a compliment, Tell me my teams look like Tom Davis's teams. And I will roll with that, fellas. I will roll with that. And guess what? Southern Indiana, University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Tennessee, and Auburn, all 4 stops. You could make an argument that all 4 of those stops, those days when we were there coaching, were some of the best days they had, and it's because of what Tom Davis taught me. So if that doesn't say a little bit about the impact that man had on my life, I don't know what else I could say.
Well, we had B.J. Armstrong on a couple of weeks ago, and he said something that really stood out to me when we were talking to him about Tom Davis. He said that Tom Davis was the first coach, starting his sophomore year, who taught him as a point guard how to control the tempo of a game. And that just really stood out to me. I mean, when you hear that, Bruce, what do you think?
Well, here's the thing. Again, I'm glad B.J. was listening. You know, one of the things that Tom would say was you can't control a lot of things about the game, but you can't control the tempo. And he taught me whether or not we wanted to make it go faster or go slower. You could do that with defense. Defensively, you could make the game faster or slower. Offensively, you couldn't impact it quite as much. You know, if you wanted to go fast, but they wanted to go slow, if you didn't do things defensively to make them go fast, they could go at their own pace. And so in scouting, I still to this day try to figure out what's my best chance to beat you, slow you down or speed you up, and I can beat you either way. But I'm going to make that decision, not you.
Interesting. And then when you guys got here in '86, what did you think of the roster that you had waiting and the fact that nobody left? And you guys kept them all here.
Man, I tell you what, it was like Christmas. I couldn't believe the roster. It was probably the best roster, '86, '87, that I've ever been a part of. Obviously, George Raveling did an amazing job in the recruitment. And then, give those kids credit for staying. And I remember my first assignment was to go up to Michigan. And, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I'm not black. I don't know if you picked that up or not. But I had to go to Michigan and see if we could hold on to Anthony Pendleton, Yank, and we couldn't. But also Bill Jones and Roy Marble and BJ. And Tom sent me there on my own as a 26-year-old assistant coach. And I guess all I did was sell him and told those kids they were fixing to get coached and they were fixing to figure out how good they could be. And I promised them Tom would put them in positions to be successful. I didn't lie to him. There were some things that we were going to do that were going to be different. And Tom must have trusted me to tell it like it was going to be. And I did. And you know what? To the credit of Bertie and Roy Marble, they bought in. To the credit of Clarence, and God, Lee, what was Bill Jones's mom's name? God, Lee, God love her. And then Ben and Barbara Armstrong. Now, I can't remember what I had breakfast for 5 minutes ago, but I just picked off the names of the parents of those kids from 40 years ago. And because those kids, those families made decisions to stay, and we made history together.
Well, that team, of course, made it to the Elite Eight. You had a huge lead on UNLV.
Here we go with the negative.
And then the second half, things kind of headed south a bit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that journey in that game?
Well, we played about as good as you could play in the first half, and it was almost surreal. We were out in Seattle. It was an unbelievable journey. Where we going out to the West Regional. First of all, we were playing in L.A. To open up things. I think that was because we were out the West twice, and then we, rather than coming back to Iowa City, we stayed out in Seattle. We went from L.A. to Seattle, and we stayed in an incredible old hotel. At this time now, I'm just 26, 27 years old. And I mean, I couldn't believe the dining room we had breakfast in was like, we had chandeliers, and I mean, it was incredible. Bill Raftery was the CBS commentator on the call, and we went up to Seattle for like 5 days before we even played in the regional. But we were the last game on a Sunday, and I believe we had a 16-point lead at halftime. The lead was 18, was the biggest it's ever been. Kevin Gamble picks up 2 fouls in the beginning of the second half. Bang, bang. And we got about 18 minutes left to go. And at that point, Kevin was he was playing as well as anybody on our team. And that really, really hurt us. And then the second thing was, I remember Armand Gilliam just being, just a monster defensively, that Roy had a hard time scoring around the basket, which he'd always done, because Gilliam was just changing shots. And then the last thing was this, I don't remember if it was Banks or Patio, but
Gerald Patio.
But they started shooting. Patio. They started making shots, and tough shots. And unfortunately, it wasn't in God's plan for us to get to the Final Four. And had we gotten to the Final Four was in New Orleans.
Yep.
And I remember going down there myself for the coaching convention, and we didn't get to bring our family. We didn't get to bring the Hawkeye Nation. We didn't get to bring our fans down to New Orleans and play. And we would have opened up against, I think it would have been Syracuse, and because Syracuse, I think, beat Vegas.
Yes.
And then we'd have beaten Syracuse because Tom gone against Boeheim and knew our zone offense would have beaten them. And then we would have played Indiana for the national championship.
Could you imagine that?
And it would have been on the heels of Indiana throwing the ball in Lohouse's face. Because the last time we played Indiana they may have been one of the last games of the regular season. It was on NBC, and Bobby Knight had taught his kid, rather than throw the ball off their shin, throw it right at their chest or right at their face. And sure enough, they threw the ball right in Lohouse's face. And we'd have mopped the floor with the Hoosiers. I'm just telling you.
Well, you were so close to the Final Four that year. I know you could taste it, and then about 34 or 35 years later, you got there with your Auburn team, got to the Final Four. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, it was a dream, obviously a dream come true. Having just, following up on the series with Jordan, getting the Final Four with Michael Jordan would have been nothing. That's not enough. You didn't win the championship. And I really enjoyed that series because Jordan took it personally, and so do I. So from a standpoint of taking it personally, I represented Iowa, I represented Tom Davis, I represented Southern Indiana, Milwaukee, Tennessee, all the different places I've been. I represented my family, I represented my coaching staff, I represented all those players that I used to coach to get to the pinnacle of our profession. And so it was very, very emotional for me. Obviously, very, very satisfying. But I took it personal that one of Tom Davis' assistants got to the Final Four. I'm just obviously disappointed that we didn't finish the job.
You had Steve Forbes on your staff. You had Matt Gatens down there, and now I found out yesterday talking to your SID Cody that he's from Iowa. Is that all a coincidence, or have you sort of kept a connection to the state of Iowa?
Well, I mean, I've got I still have some friends there,
mm-hmm.
and Iowa. I was really young, and Tom put me in a great position to be able to coach and teach and work at Iowa, and I'm grateful for it. And just love the people there, you don't ever forget the people that helped you got where you got to.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew Coach Forbes as a junior college close when we used to do those community scrimmages when we were trying to develop the program. We took the team around the state. Just brilliant stuff by Tom Davis. And we went to his junior college out in Iowa. And, of course, he's not far from Iowa City where he grew up. And maintained contact. Jason Shea,
yes,
who's now the head coach at East Tennessee State.
Yep.
He was from Galesburg, Illinois. And I took him as a walk-on and made the decision to let him stay on that team and hired him a couple times during the course of his, coaching career. And then when Mike Gatens and I have stayed really close, and thank God that Matt really takes after his mother Julie. When he was done playing ball, Mike and I happened to be together. In fact, I think it was at the Final Four in Phoenix, because Michael Bill Winter down there a little bit, and we hung out together. And I said, "How's Matt doing?" He's like, you know what? I think he's finally done playing. I said, "What's he going to do?" He said, "You're not going to believe this." And Mike's one of the only guys in the world. My auntie Sophie and Mike Gates, the only two people that call me Brucey. He calls me Brucey, and because he's big enough to call me Brucey without getting hit, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so, well, what's he going to do? He wants to coach, and I was like, well, he needs to come coach for me, because he needs to learn a different system and live in a different part of the country. And Matt and his beautiful wife and their family came down, and he was with me for at least a year, maybe two. And then, of course, he got the opportunity to come back up to Des Moines and work at Drake. But Matt's really, really good, and he's going to be a terrific coach. There are some head coaching jobs out there. That Des Moines Junior College would be a phenomenal job for Matt to get his teeth cut in coaching.
I know it's been a while since you've been in the Big Ten, but if you were to compare like SEC basketball to Big Ten now, are there any stark differences? Are they similar style of play, athleticism? How are they similar and how are they different?
No. I think they are much different. The Big Ten is typically what you would expect: bigger, stronger, physical. Okay. The pace of play is a little slower. The SEC is a little faster, a little bit more athletic. I think the only difference right now is, back in the day, the SEC was a football conference, and we were proud of that. To be honest with you, the SEC is kind of an everything conference. Yeah. Like, I don't really kind of care what sport it is. I don't care if it's football or baseball or women's gymnastics or golf or tennis. You name the sport. It's kind of hard not – the SEC kind of – it doesn't necessarily dominate, but whatever conference is second, there's a big gap between that conference and the SEC. Now, in basketball, the ACC, the Big Ten, I think, even the Big 12 were better than the SEC. But I do think the coaching has caught up in the sense that if you look at our roster coaches right now, I don't think our roster coaches and the quality of our programs, I think we're right there with the best conferences in the country in basketball. And back when I was in the Big Ten, we're in the Big Ten. I mean, it was Indiana, Purdue, Illinois, Michigan, Iowa, and those 5 programs were always in the top 25 every year.
Is there a team when you were at Iowa that you like to beat more than others, Big Ten-wise? Or do they all mean the same?
I think Indiana just because of Coach Knight. Okay. And, you always wanted to, beat the best teams on our schedule. But I would think that Minnesota was and Wisconsin were regional rivals, but we didn't want to have our program be rivals with anybody other than the best programs in the Big Ten. And so for me, just out of honoring Coach Knight and what he had done to that program, beating Indiana was probably sweetest.
That makes sense.
Well, Coach, you've been coaching for about approximately 40 years now, and of course you've seen enormous changes in the game. The grad transfer thing, I think, has changed how everybody has to look at this thing. Like Matt Painter lost 2 guys that he was counting on this year, 2 grad transfers. How do you look at that? And is it just something you have to deal with, both positive and negative?
Yeah, I think the grad transfer is a good rule. I think it's great that if you graduate and you have several years of eligibility and you want to better yourself, and you paid your dues, I don't have any problem with that eligibility factor right away. I don't. The transfer legislation that they're talking about right now, where guys don't have to sit out, I don't think that's in the long run going to be in the best interest of the student athletes. Now, there are a lot of people that wouldn't agree with me, and coaches can transfer and be eligible right away. Why can't players? And under certain circumstances, with a coaching change perhaps, or some different hardships, I could understand where perhaps it's where for a guy to be eligible right away under certain circumstances. But I can tell you right now, guys, I've seen way too many kids. I haven't had a player transfer in a couple of years, and I'm very, very proud of that. Because I think that it says we're making good decisions, and the kids are understanding it's not where you start, it's where you finish. At the same time, 3 years ago, I had 2 kids transfer. Absolutely broke my heart, and I don't know that either one of them were better off for having left, because the next year we got to the Final Four, and I think they would have loved to have been a part of that. And so, in 8th grade, if a kid's on a baseball team, he's not getting enough innings, they're transferring him to a different baseball team, a different travel team. And, people are, stop worrying about making the right decisions instead of making the decisions you make work. And we flee too quickly. And I think it's just going to be the same thing. I think, man, it's hard to coach them anyways. And I know we could adjust. We'll adjust. But with all the people that are in these guys' ears, it's just too easy to say, hey, let's just going to go try something else. Life is difficult. Mm-hmm. It's tough to navigate, really difficult. And that's why when there are wonderful things that happen, like the birth of a child or having a great friendship or winning a championship as a team, man, those things are so joyful and worth celebrating, in part because there's a lot of pain in life. And but I think sometimes enduring some of that pain and hanging in there, man, I know more guys that, like I guarantee you, Duke is really happy they didn't transfer Mike Krzyzewski the first 5 or 6 years when he went to Duke, and Tom Butter stayed with him because he couldn't win and didn't fire him. Hang in there, man. Hang in there.
Bruce, I got one last question for you, and we really do appreciate the time. We could go on forever. This is so much fun. But in your line of work, I know you probably don't have a lot of time to watch other college teams play in the heart of the season, but have you had a chance to watch just Luka Garza's improvement here? I mean, have you watched him much? Just your thoughts on what he was able to do.
Oh, man, what a monster. Unbelievable. Fran and his staff done a great job with him. I don't know if there's a big guy with better footwork in the game. The impact he has on the college game is incredible. I don't know what his status is about whether he's coming back or not. But he obviously he's the most dominating offensive big guy in the game right now, and he's gotten a lot better. So love to see him finish his career at Iowa.
All right, Coach, we really appreciate you joining us this morning. I've got one more non-basketball related question for you. All right, so Bruce Pearl has been called by the Iowa athletic director, and he says to you, Bruce, we need to get a band or an act in Kinnick Stadium to fill it up. It's your job to get the band or act into Kinnick Stadium to fill it up. Who is Bruce Pearl going to get?
Oh man, that's a great question. I don't know, man. I mean, the first thing that jumped off at me as far as a concert would be Springsteen.
Wow, that's what Fran McCaffrey and Kirk Ferentz both said.
Yeah. I mean, that would be that'd be my first. That's the first thing to come to my mind.
Okay, great answer.
All right,
great answer, Bruce. And hey, we really do appreciate this. And tell Cody thank you for helping to arrange this. We really appreciated talking to you. And good luck, sir, moving forward.
Once you're a Hawkeye, you're always a Hawkeye. You guys take care.
All right, Bruce. Thank you. Great.
That's pretty good.
All right, he's awesome.
That was just what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, man, what a great speaker.
Yep.
And what a great coach.
And talking to these coaches, how do these kids ever make decisions? Because they all talk so well, and they're smart, and they're passionate.
We're having enough trouble trying to pick a business to build our websites because the ones that we're talking to were all impressive.
Yeah,
and they're all saying exactly what you want to hear and everything, and it's hard. I mean, luckily I'm not the one who's going to make the final.
I would call him out on one statement he made, that you can control the tempo, you can slow it down. Couldn't slow down Licklider's tempo.
I suppose you could.
Well, the four corners.
Yeah.
You could complete stall.
God, the four corners. What a horrible.
Dean Smith did that.
Oh, my God. That was just horrible.
Remember when he did it with Phil Ford? And they would just control the ball for the entire, and the games would be like 6-4 at times. If they were.
There was a game, Iowa and Michigan State, I remember clearly, and I think the halftime score was 6-4.
That was a trend there in the late 70s, early 80s. It was a trend.
It was just really.
Well, didn't it lead to the shot clock?
Yes.
It helped lead to the shot clock?
Absolutely.
But no, that was, I enjoyed so much listening to him talk about Tom Davis's influence, and that story about his car breaking down in Iowa City is. So he's talking about. What good is the good? Is he talking about the Goodyear right down there on Burlington Street?
The Firestone that's still there.
Firestone, right? Yeah, Firestone.
And
right
it's still there.
And it's still there.
Yeah.
And the Holiday Inn is now
Graduate.
The Graduate, which used to be Sheridan.
Sheridan.
Yeah,
before that, it was
one time.
Okay.
Yeah, and at one time it was, for like a short period of time, it was a Marriott.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he got a shot in on Gatons, too, which we knew he would, and we didn't have to even poke that bear.
Gator needs that.
Gator needs that every once in a while. A shot at Mike and lifting up of Mike's wife, Julie. You know, so I thought that was good. But no, that was a lot of fun.
That was a real good.
Hopefully the listeners, should we take a break now?
Yeah.
And then I'm sure this last hour is going to
do nothing but get better.
Yes.
KCJJ's severe weather coverage is brought to you by Harden Services of Kelowna, the premier property restoration company. Call 656-FIRE. When severe weather happens, we talk of a storm.
Here is your KCJJ forecast. Showers this morning. It's going to be cloudy all day, and it's not going to warm up much either. High of 60 this afternoon. The wind out of the north at about 10 to 20. Tonight, cloudy will drop to 51 for a low. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, 68. And then on Wednesday, we'll gradually clear out. High of 72. We're going to keep warming it up. We're talking low to mid-80s by the time we roll into the weekend. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Temperature now 54.
It's live, it's loud, it's the Chrome Horse Saloon, and it's your destination to turn it up on your next night out. Cold beer, live music, great food, all in the heart of New Bow and Cedar Rapids. It's the Chrome Horse Saloon, and it's the hot spot for you. Lunch specials, catering, private parties. The Chrome Horse has it all. Inside stages, outside stages. The Chrome Horse rocks! For the next big game, grab your group and enjoy the Chrome Horse's 23 big screen TVs. And when the game's over, well, then it's time to turn it up at the Chrome Horse Saloon, 1201 3rd Street Southeast, Cedar Rapids. Takeout available from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Go to ChromeHorseSaloon.com or call 200-4400.
Over the years, car keys have gotten extremely complex. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars can generate the most technically advanced automotive keys on the market today. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars can produce most conventional transponder, sidewinder, and remote-headed keys. If you've lost the keys to your car or simply need a duplicate, call 330-9185. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for Cars has the technology to keep you on the road. Call 330-9185 and schedule an appointment today. If you're looking for a reliable, affordable lawn care service, you need Cowboy Lawn Care. Cowboy Lawn Care specializes in lawn mowing, weed eating, cleaning flower beds, trimming trees, spring cleanup, and much, much more. Cowboy Lawn Care guarantees their work and are fully insured. Call Johnny at Cowboy Lawn Care at 331-5520. That's 331-5520 for complete, affordable lawn care. Cowboy Lawn Care.
Hi, this is Steve Anderson with Hawkeye Title and Settlement in Iowa City. Whether it's a crazy real estate market, record low interest rates, or the COVID-19 virus, we are living in unprecedented times. But know that my remarkable team at Hawkeye is literally working around the clock and in unique and adaptable ways to try to make every deal close smoothly and on time. We appreciate your understanding, patience, and flexibility as we power through this tough time. We're going to get through this together.
You see the same people there greeting you, and they know you.
I think of my cell phone. There's not a big distinction there from family to customers.
Deary Ford in Iowa City.
That kind of relationship that goes deep.
Taking care of you, taking care of your vehicle.
It's just that growing list of friends, frankly, that's kind of been the big payoff for me.
The ownership experience is going to be 4 or 5 plus years. We have to be there for you.
Deary Ford in Iowa City. See why people choose them over and over again. DearyFord.com.
GT Carr, owner of Supple Siding and Remodeling, offers service and quality that is unmatched in the area. At Supple Siding and Remodeling, their trained professionals will install and guarantee the products used in any size job done, regardless of the project. Supple Siding and Remodeling will stand behind their quality products and installation with exceptional customer service. Whether it's a window replacement, a kitchen remodel, or a house addition, our employees are committed to quality. Visit sales at suples.net or call 337-2246.
Hey everybody, it's Kevin here from Big Dog Satellite and Solar, your local TV expert, and I want to tell you about Dish TV. If technology, value, and customer satisfaction are important to you, then it's time to cut the cable cord once and for all. Upgrade your TV experience and start saving with Dish today. Drop by Big Dog Satellite and Solar on Blair's Ferry Road in front of Rockwell. Call 395-0800 or visit us on the web at BigDogSatellite.com. We are Big Dog Satellite and Solar, your locally operated and trusted satellite TV experts.
for a gift that your loved one will treasure for a lifetime. Find it at our family-owned jewelry store in Iowa City, Harty and Stocker Jewelers.
We can show you diamond engagement rings, colored stones, fashion jewelry, and watches.
Our jewelers are on site so we can design jewelry for that special person in your life.
We are Harty and Stocker, serving Iowa City and the surrounding area for 3 generations.
Harty and Stocker Jewelers, downtown Iowa City, and HartyandStockerJewelers.com. Ask for Willa, Terry, Tim, or Kate. One of us is always there.
99 Plus, KFMH.com continues to be your worldwide home for rock, blues, reggae, alternative, and outstanding new music. Original KFMH jocks are joined by newer voices, playing from a music library that dwarfs anything you'll hear on terrestrial radio. And our weekends are full of great shows, like in Now for Something Completely British, the Heartland Hootenanny, the Blue Zone, Stoned on Sunday, jam-packed and off the beaten track. We're easy to find. Hear us on your mobile or home device 24/7. We're on TuneIn, Triton, Simple Radio, Alexa, Google Home, and more. 99 Plus, KFMH.com.
The Corridor wakes up on 1630 KCJJ.
I don't really worry about coming in here because
Mighty 1630 KCJJ. HawkFanatic.com. It is coming.
It's coming.
Not here yet, but it's coming.
No matter what you say, Captain Steve, it's coming.
I haven't written anything in like 2 weeks. It's kind of weird. I can't remember. Well, I guess I've been on vacations before, but never. I used to never take 2 weeks back to back. There's just not a lot going on. I mean,
no,
Tyler's written a couple recruiting stories that we posted on your site and what have you. So, but no, again, thanks to Bruce Pearl, thanks to Cody Voga he's the SID down at Auburn. I just thought it was cool when he told me last night, hey, I'm from Jewel, just outside of Ames.
Yeah.
You know, and why don't you tell your story?
Yeah, I have a story about Jewel, Iowa.
Pre-COVID-19 story.
Pre-COVID-19, but you could see how it would play today.
Yes.
Okay. My dad would always get us donuts every Saturday. All right. So we were for some reason in Jewel, Iowa. So we stopped at this place, and Dad goes in to get us a sack of donuts. So the guy, puts all the donuts in.
Was he touching them with his hands? Do you remember?
Of course.
Okay.
Then gave Dad the donuts he ordered, took the money, and then the guy grabbed the bag and sneezed right into the donut bag.
That story rules.
Closed the top and gave it to my dad.
That's one of my favorite stories of all time, Captain. And the fact that no gloves were wearing, and he's handling money. He had probably handled money from the previous customers. So the donuts that he handed you before they were drooled on and spit on probably were filthy to begin with.
And then sneezed on them.
What do you think of that, Captain?
What'd your dad do?
He left and threw them away.
My dad would have thrown them away, but he would have
said, I want new donuts.
Well, Dad was non-confrontational.
Captain, you would have touched a donut after that display?
No, I would have I would have said, give me another bag of donuts.
I would have said, give me my money back, and then gotten the hell out of there. And just...
No, Dad did not want to be confrontational, and we got the hell out of Jewel.
Your dad was the polar opposite of my father.
Yeah?
Oh, my mother.
My father sought confrontation at times.
My mother would have used every word in the book, even the real bad ones. And then
of course,
demanded new donuts.
We were crushed.
Oh, you wanted
donuts. Would you have eaten them with knowing that there could have been like snot and boogers and spit?
Probably not.
That's not a sprinkle.
Or maybe taking the first layer of donuts off and eating the ones
Hey, Dad,
on the bottom.
there's these green and red sprinkles, but then what's this kind of beige one?
Ew.
God, 5 minutes we've gone from Bruce Pearl to this. And we can't even blame it on a caller.
No, this
was us.
A real life event. It was actually tying into what Bruce was saying, what you were saying about their SID being from Jewel. It's broadcasting ploy, if you will, Captain Steve.
I got my Jewel story where, remember when Sean Tracy was working here and his brother-in-law was a stocker for Jewel in the Quad Cities Jewel food store.
Hey.
And he was going to come here and beat up Sean.
Oh.
Why? What happened?
Sean was having problems with his second wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
real problem.
I like sticking to gross food stories. I remember going to a place and we were sitting there getting ready. I'm not going to name the place, but we were sitting there waiting to order, and I heard one of the people in the back kitchen say that, man, these last couple days with diarrhea have just been horrible.
God.
And we all looked at each other, just got up, and we were kind of with a table that was near the door that goes in, and this guy I don't think he realized how loud he was saying it. And
he was an employee?
He was in the back cooking.
Oh my God!
And I almost started crying. I mean, I'm like, God, get me out of here.
Yikes!
I mean, this was pre-virus. This was just, I mean, I know the virus, but you can't underestimate poop too. Poop can cause problems.
Diarrhea talk in restaurants is not welcome.
Especially if they're one of my favorite restaurants in Des Moines got in serious trouble because they had somebody doing salad prep on work release, and they had diarrhea, and they admitted to not washing their hands throughout their shift.
Oh.
I'm not naming names, but just think about
work release.
handling the lettuce. At least food that gets cooked, there's a chance you're going to survive the diarrhea. But if you're doing lettuce and tomatoes and all that stuff, that's just like a country club for diarrhea.
Oh, God.
Isn't it, Captain?
When you come to me.
Okay.
Wow. Sorry, Coach Pearl.
Oh, he's not listening. He's moved on.
No.
That's a half an hour of his life he'll never get back. No, he sounded like he enjoyed it.
Oh, no, I think
he enjoyed it.
I do, too.
That's what's been neat about these interviews is I think Coach Davis enjoyed it. And like Bruce said, Coach Davis is a very private person. He always was. His wife is extremely private. We've always respected their privacy because Tom's never been it's never been about him. It was never about him at Iowa. And that's one of the things I always admired about him. And I don't think it's all about Bruce. Bruce's personality just sort of makes it kind of about him because he's so charismatic.
He's bigger than life.
He is. He just somehow just dominates the room when he's in there just because of his personality. That's just who he is.
I was ready to suit up.
Yeah, no, he just has that effect. And I thought that was neat when he said, Coach Davis said, be yourself. And that's what he's done. That's what he's done over all this time. So, no, it was a lot of fun. It really was.
Yep.
And I liked his answer. I mean, obviously he's a Republican, but he's realistic. He realizes that this thing kind of changes the way you have to look at things.
Well, it does, and you should do some reevaluation,
because it wasn't just Democrats who shut us down. We all agreed to shut down. I mean, Democrats may be more into wanting to keep us in lockdown longer than Republicans. I get all that, and I see both sides to it, but we had to shut down. Everyone's like, well, we've only 100,000 have died in a little over 2 months with social distancing. Think about that.
Just imagine what it would have been like.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, this had to be done.
This had to be done.
It should not have, by either side, been politicized. You shouldn't be picking on scientists who are doing their best to tell you what the science dictates.
And if it's not something you want to hear,
What's really weird is we had this report from China, and their Dr. Fauci over there, their version.
Is he dead?
No, he said you've got to, and China, the government listened to him. And the government's like, I mean, he's a big hero over there.
Who's the one with doctors falling out of windows? Is that Russia?
That's Russia.
Is that because they're pushing them out because they're saying things they don't want to hear? Or what's
no, I think that doctors always fall out of windows. Yeah, I think they're pushing them out. The doctors have vertigo for some reason.
I had people on Twitter trying to tell me that Russia's far less of a threat than China. Russia may not be as big, but Russia is just as evil and wants to destroy us just as much as China does. Can we agree with that?
I think so.
Yeah,
they both want to destroy us.
Maybe. Well, they want to destroy us to a point. China. I mean, China's got.
I don't trust China as far as
I don't trust them either, and their secret. I get that, but they, if we go to hell, so does their economy because we owe them.
True, I'll give you that, but let's get all right. We're going to wait.
All right,
let's get back to sports. But
back to how's that baseball in Taiwan doing?
At least we came back from diarrhea.
Yeah, we did make it back. And you notice we did not mention Gigi Allen at all during that.
No, and we could have.
We could have very easily gone to him. He's always a good fallback plan, and we didn't. We don't need Gigi.
So, have you watched baseball?
I watched
Taiwan,
3 pitches the other day, and I'm just like, God, I mean, kill me. I just have no interest. You guys make fun of me for watching Andy Griffith reruns, and there's actually people watching Korean baseball with no fans in the stadium.
He was Hunter was watching a game with Mickey Mantle in it. Like this, yeah.
See, that would be brutal because of the definition would be.
What channel would that have been?
He said it was on. No, it was on the Yes Network, the Yankee Network. And it was like black and white, but it was clear black and white.
Really?
Like those old home run derbies. Remember when they showed those old home run derbies?
I used to watch home run derby.
Looks like they're playing at some Little League park or whatever. This guy Willie Mays versus Roberto Clemente, and they're in some neighborhood. That was that like the early 60s, mid-60s?
60, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say mid-60s.
I want to watch that game, the Mickey Mantle game.
Well,
no,
we still can.
Something like that. Something like that would catch my interest for a few innings, because it's just. But whereas Korean baseball, that just doesn't interest me. Now, if we were the other night, there was somehow, I don't remember, it was channel 815 or whatever. It had an old replay of Iowa versus Indiana from like 1983.
9.2.
That interests me. I ended up watching that for a few minutes. Now, if that was a replay of Iowa versus Indiana from like 2 years ago, probably wouldn't have interested me.
What about Licklider versus Indiana?
None of the Licklider. Remember when they beat Michigan State 42-37?
Yes.
I would watch that again. And Tom Izzo came in and said it was the darkest, downest, worst day in his coaching career. Licklider beat Michigan State at Carver.
Yep.
He made Izzo his, you know what? Izzo said it was the worst day in his worst moment in his coaching career. And then 2 years later, he's ragging on Remember, have you ever noticed whenever Big Ten teams make coaching changes, Izzo always comes out and kind of criticizes of course you wanted to keep Licklider in Iowa. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, even with that one victory.
Well, yeah. Matt Painter's bitter about losing the Eastern, and
I can see
Harms.
why. He's human. Harms went where?
BYU.
Okay, and the Eastern one's strange. That's a strange.
To Michigan.
That's a strange transfer. He's from Evanston, went to Purdue, then went to Michigan. That is awkward, and that's like when you talk to Kirk Ferentz and coaches about their hesitancy about these rules is because of stuff like this.
Yes.
It can lead to some hard feelings. And then you just hope things don't spill over. I mean, No-Gel Eastern versus Purdue is going to be interesting. Purdue might not be very good next year.
No, well, that's two key players.
What did Painter say? I didn't see.
He basically he didn't call them quitters, but that was it. He said they're not Boilermakers.
Well, they're not,
or else they would never leave. He said if they were truly Boilermakers, they would have finished what they started.
I know I'm straddling the fence. I completely see what he's saying. But I say, if I'm No-Gel Eastern, if I think that one last year at Michigan is going to give me more happiness and a better chance to reach my potential, I can see these guys got 5 years to play for. It's a time that's going to change the course of their life. And I can see they got to do what's right for them. But
I can see it.
I do see the sensitivity to the whole thing. I really do. I can see Matt Painter being hurt. He's hurt.
I mean, and we've saw last year with, we got a grad transfer that paid off for us.
Well, and Kansas got Isaiah Moss. So,
and that's a trade I would make any day. Did you see what Jordan Bohannon said? Was it to Lystakau?
I did not read the story. Tyler actually read a couple of the quotes. I don't subscribe to the...
I did read it after I talked.
So do you pay or did you get a free...
No.
You got a free article?
I got a free article.
I think you get like 3 free articles, so I guess I could have read it. But I couldn't read it because Chad blocks me on Twitter, which we've all found great humor in that. Jordan's free to do whatever he wants. I guess I was surprised. I'm not going to judge him. It's not my... I was surprised that he would consider leaving a team that if Garza comes back, they're going to be arguably the best team on paper in the Big Ten. They're going to be arguably a top 10 team. And he'd be leaving the only Power 5 coach who believed in him enough to give him a scholarship out of high school. That's why I was surprised.
And, of course, obviously he's staying.
He's staying, yeah.
My sense is Jordan, marches to his own drummer, and he always has. And the second thing, though, is I think that was more him just saying, it crossed my mind.
But if you're Fran, aren't you like, seriously? Really?
Maybe.
Could you see Fran? I mean,
I could
that's
see
just me. I mean,
Fran not liking that.
I could see Fran saying, "Jesus," because Fran was the only Power 5 coach who gave him a scholarship out of high school, the only one who believed in him. And Fran has built a roster that's ready to win, assuming Garza comes back. Everything hedges on Garza.
Yeah.
If Garza comes back, Iowa on paper is going to be I mean, they're not going to have the 5 stars like Duke and what have you, but Iowa's going to have a team next year if Garza comes back
that can beat anybody.
Anybody.
Yep.
Anybody in the Big Ten.
Yep.
And nationally. And it's Iowa, it's the fans. I just was surprised that I know these kids' minds wander and what have you. That's only I'm not ripping him. I'm just saying I was surprised that would he actually consider leaving under these circumstances.
And part of it too is that option is there, and it hasn't been there for most of basketball history.
No,
in just the last couple of years. So it's a new.
Now, if Iowa was coming off back-to-back NITs, or if they're coming off that losing season, I fully understand where he's coming from.
Yeah,
but they're not.
Hello.
They're not.
I got a couple questions for you, and
Okay.
then I'll hang up here.
Sure.
I was wondering your guys' opinion on do you think Jordan Bohannon will jump back into the starting lineup next season?
Yes,
absolutely.
And also, I read up that Jack Nungy will be eligible for 6 seasons.
Right.
Yes.
Will he be back in the starting lineup this season, too?
My guess for a starting lineup, assuming Garza comes back, will be Garza, Nungy.
Thank you.
Thanks, caller. Garza, Nungy, Connor, Bohannon, and Frederick. Oh, wait, no, Wieskamp. It'll be Garza, Nungy, Wieskamp, and then Bohannon, Connor, or Frederick. I mean, how do you take C.J. Frederick out of the starting lineup?
I don't think you
So
can.
do you take Connor out?
I think.
Do you not start Nungy?
I think you don't start Jack Nungy.
So then you have one 6'11" guy and then a bunch of 6'6", 6'5".
Right.
I mean, and then who's your power forward?
Well, it's more closer to the positionless basketball that Fran talked about.
But is that lineup quick enough to play positionless basketball? Because when
Find
you
out.
put Jordan Bohannon in at point guard without Joe Toussaint, that changes everything defensively if you're playing positionless basketball.
It does. It does.
It's
but
going to be interesting to see.
Fran has got a lot of pieces, and I think, probably it's going to depend on the matchups.
I mean, Bohannon, Garza, and Wieskamp are 3 locks, I think. But then some people may argue, well, C.J. Frederick should be a lock after the way he played last year.
I think he will be starting.
And I think you could make that argument. And then someone will
Absolutely.
say, well, Connor was the most efficient player in the country last year, guards multiple positions. It's going to be interesting to see.
I think if you're playing against a bigger lineup, then maybe you have Jack Nungy in there, and one of your either Connor sits or one of the other guys, doesn't.
And then what do you do with Toussaint? Anthony Cowan I saw something on Twitter. He called Toussaint the toughest player he had to guard in the Big Ten.
Wow.
So, I mean, could you see Toussaint's minutes getting greatly reduced? He averaged, just 15 to 20?
No, I think he'll be in that same range. I don't think he's not going to be a 30-minuter.
Do you think Bohannon's going to be – Bohannon won't have to play as much. He's not going to have to play 35 minutes a game.
He'll be 20 – I'd say 25.
And I think that'll
30.
help him be more of a
I do
designated
too.
gunslinger, so to speak. I think there's going to be ways to offset his defensive liabilities. I know there's some people that get mad if you – let's face it, he's got some defensive liabilities. He's not a very good defensive player.
He isn't. I think hopefully we're going to see – with him being 100%, maybe he will be a little better on the defensive end since he's
that should help.
Healthy.
I would think that, but he won't be Joe Toussaint.
And he's never doesn't have that quickness. No, of course not.
So it will be interesting to see how Bohannon and Frederick play together.
Oh, I can't
To
wait.
me, that's going to be one of the keys to the season, I think, how well they play together. Because C.J. Frederick's not going to be sitting on the bench for 15, 20 minutes a game. He's just too good at
They've been playing together for a couple of years now,
Mhm.
and I think, we're going to be virtually unguardable. We'll have 4 guys that are great three-point shooters. C.J. Frederick, the best ever, Jordan. Luka Garza's a fine three-point shooter, and Joe Wieskamp's a good. And Connor chopped litter.
He was getting better.
Yeah.
He was getting – it's still not a strength by any means, but
No.
he was getting better.
He was.
And
Nungy can hit the
Nungy
three.
can make threes. And we're not sure how Patrick McCaffrey's going to figure into this thing. He's getting healthier. I mean, if Patrick McCaffrey can give them a spark off the bench offensively, 7, 10, 15 minutes a game, I mean, then of course, we haven't even mentioned any of the freshmen. So, no, that's the only reason I was surprised that Jordan's mindset was that way and that Fran has built Iowa into a potential Big Ten and national power for next year, and Fran was the one coach who believed in him and who made him a starter right away as a freshman after like 5 and has been by his side. That's the only reason I was surprised that he actually thought for a while about leaving Fran and the Hawks. I'm not criticizing him or anything. That's just, and I haven't read the story, but that's just.
When I read this story, I felt it was more of a fleeting thought than something he really.
But then why?
Seriously
But then why
considered.
say it after the fact?
I don't know. He's a kid.
Well, he's 22-year-old man.
Yeah.
That's like I said, I just didn't. I talked to a couple former players. I'm not going to name names. They just didn't understand the after the fact thing. But they're glad he's staying. I mean, I'm glad he's staying. I mean, he gives them a weapon. And like I said, I am not criticizing. I just was surprised. You asked me. I was just surprised that he made those comments. And I could see Fran not being maybe just a little. I don't want to speak for Fran, but miffed or just like, Jesus, dude, I've been at your side, and look at this team I've got assembled for you, and you actually were thinking of leaving me?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And
fair
if people
enough.
want to rip me for it, that's fine.
Fair
I'm
enough.
not ripping Jordan. I'm not going to write a column ripping him, saying he's selfish or anything.
No.
I'm not doing that. Just, I was...
Do you think that Jordan Bohannon sets the Big Ten record for three-pointers?
How many does he need?
I think something around 90.
I think he's going to come close because he's had somewhere between 70 and I think he's going to come close. The difference is though, he hasn't played a lot with CJ. CJ Frederick's going to be taking some threes that Jordan would be normally taking. So it will be interesting to see if CJ cuts into that total sum. And Jordan made most of those threes when Luka Garza wasn't, like Bruce Pearl said, the greatest offensive big man in the country. You know, that offense is still going to run through Luka Garza next year.
Yeah.
Jordan's going to be their second option next year. Maybe at times their third option if Wieskamp's playing really well. Luka Garza is always going to be their first option next year, assuming he's back.
Yeah.
So that will be an adjustment for Jordan because it wasn't that way as a freshman and sophomore. Tyler Cook was, but Tyler Cook was never the offensive force that Luka Garza is now.
No,
never close.
not even close.
So now we're breaking it down, Captain.
Breaking it down.
We're breaking it down.
Breaking it down. Breaking it down.
Now we're done.
Now we're done. Now we got a little. No, we're just regrouping. We're just we're regrouping.
Okay.
We're regrouping after that. But no, I had not seen the article. But we're to the point now where we're all trying to figure out things to write. Well, I'm not right now because I don't have anywhere to put it. But we're all trying to figure out things to write, and it's tough. I mean, you can only do so much recruiting. At some point, you want to try to come up with something else. But he's.
Speaking of recruiting, I know that Fran had did video virtual tours with a couple of recruits last week. Did Tyler get any information on
I
that?
don't believe so. I haven't asked him to. I should ask Tyler. Iowa football's also offered a couple people. The problem is the football offers, where somebody gets an offer, that's the true cookie cutter, where it's, I'm so excited, how many of those do you do? Do you do every time someone gets an offer? Do you write a 50?
It just felt like home.
Well, at some point, I got to decide if it's worth
it all does. Everybody
I
says.
really felt comfortable with the coaching
But
staff.
I'm going to ask him, though, I'd like to have him get a hold of some of these basketball recruits that have done the virtual tours just to see what the virtual tour is about.
Yeah.
That would be a good story. So, I'll talk to him about that. And then if he gets them, we can post them on your website. But that's now that they've pushed back the dead period and they've pushed back the declaring for the draft, they've pushed that back indefinitely now. It was June 3rd. Now, right now, what are they saying? They've just pushed it back indefinitely, right?
I haven't seen a specific date about it, but I thought a couple of weeks.
Well, and I've had some people say, well, that's just not fair to the teams now. They got to, well, you can't get together as a team right now and practice anyway, so it really doesn't have much of an effect. If these were normal times, yeah, that would be a distraction. But right now, there's nothing that they can be doing as a team, so Luka's kind of free to take as much time. People have asked me. My guess is I think he's coming back, but like I said, I have it's not like I've talked to Frank or Luka any time recently to say that I have inside information. It's just my hunch.
I thought of you. Somebody made a quote. I can't remember which musician, but he said, when do you think we'll have a vaccine? And he didn't know why they said it. It's a musician. He goes, before the end of a Grateful Dead song.
Who said that? What smart ass said that?
I honest to God can't remember.
That is kind of a good answer. That's a funny.
Yes.
I'll give you. That's a funny answer.
That's a good answer.
It's a funny answer. But I think Iowa basketball on paper is as good as it's been since I've been doing this. Going back.
John Bon Jovi said it.
Oh yeah, look at his music.
Well,
I like John Bon Jovi.
I know you do. I know we've been through this.
We have.
Living on a prayer, please.
I love that song.
I do too.
Kitty Rock.
He's doing a lot of good, though. He's
a good guy.
He's got these restaurants that he's opening, and he's feeding the homeless and whoever can.
No, and I've read
free.
everything I've read about him. I just don't like his music.
Yeah.
I've heard
Fair enough.
I've heard Huey Lewis is a great guy.
Yeah.
But that Huey Lewis in the news, my God, that was like chalk.
No,
he's on a chalkboard.
He's a great blues musician.
I've heard that. I wished I could see him do blues instead of working for a living.
Because I have. We brought him into Augustana College. And
did he play Working for a Living?
He didn't have those.
Do you believe?
He didn't have those songs.
What was that one?
Do you believe in love? He didn't have those songs then. He was doing blues. I mean, this was like in the 70s. He wanted to support his family.
He needed to make money.
Yeah.
So that shows you where he needed to make money, so he had to produce crap music. What does that say about us?
He produced popular music.
What other? Okay, Do You Believe in Love? Working
that's
for
a good.
No, it's
I
not.
Want a New Drug.
I want a new drug.
Terrible song. Terrible.
Well, that's a new drug.
Why do you need a new drug when you've already got heroin, cocaine, ecstasy?
Because it's one that won't make me nervous,
It won't
wondering
make him
what
sick.
to do.
Is that what the
won't
words
make him
were?
sick. Yes.
One that makes me feel like I feel like when I'm with you.
So he wanted to break the law, but without having to suffer at all.
Feel
He wanted
like
to-
when we're with you, Pat.
He wanted to break the law, but without
I'm
suffering.
alone
Yeah.
with you.
He wanted to not have to risk
maybe
it.
he wanted like a Prevacid or something.
Or
Zantac.
Remdesivir or whatever.
Yeah,
Remdesivir.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm not here to bash on Huey Lewis. But he is one of my least favorite.
Well, fair
I
enough.
Hated Huey Lewis in the news.
I liked him a lot.
Who would you listen to first between them and Billy Ocean?
Oh my God, Huey Lewis times a million.
All right.
Oh my God.
How about Huey Lewis and XTC? Senses Working Overtime.
Huey Lewis times a million.
I like XTC a lot.
Senses Working Overtime is great.
You like Dear God?
Yeah, it's all right. Not as good as Senses Working Overtime. Do you have that, Captain?
I love Dear God.
Do you have
No.
Senses Working Overtime?
No, I don't.
You know, I had Tommy Bolin's CD in my coat the other day. Didn't realize it. We could have played some Tommy Bolin when I was in here on
I got
Saturday.
some Tommy. I got 2 songs.
Do you have People?
No.
That's probably my favorite.
Yeah,
Tommy.
Busting Out for Rosie.
And what's the other one?
And Post Toasty.
Yeah, Post Toasty's like 8 minutes long. You don't want to.
9 minutes.
9 minutes.
You know, but a little sugar and milk and Post Toasties are good.
No, they're not.
No, they're really not.
No, they're really not, and they get soggy real
They
quick.
do get soggy.
Yeah,
really
they do.
fast. Yeah,
I haven't had Post Toasties for 4 decades.
I do
5
love
decades.
I love Frosted Flakes.
I do too.
But they get real.
They get soggy, but not
too.
as quick as some others.
Can you believe it's already after 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
An hour.
Well, we did talk to Bruce Pearl.
I know. I was
for
going to say
hour.
half an hour of Bruce Pearl really helps. Yeah. But I thought it was neat what he said about Luka Gar. He called him the best offensive big man in the country.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fair assessment.
I do too.
Hello.
Makes me wonder, though, what he thinks of his defense.
Hi, how are you guys today?
Yeah, we're all right. How you doing?
That's good. I'm doing well, thanks. I enjoyed that interview with Pearl.
Good.
I'm thinking back, though. Oh, God, I hate to think how long ago this was. Chris Street was playing in the state tournament for Indianola, and I went up to watch and went to Babe's restaurant downtown
Know it well.
for supper before the game and had the fortune of getting to sit with Bruce Pearl at the bar having dinner.
Really?
And it was very interesting conversation. I have never shared with anybody what he told me because I trusted, that because what he told me, most people would not want to share. And I thought, nope, I'm just going to keep it between him and me. But
what are you going to go ahead? Tell the world.
What did he tell you?
Because
we
don't know who you are. So
we talked about a lot of things, but in any event, the gist of it is he was just a delight.
Yeah.
To have talking to that time. He talked about Street, and I'm trying to remember. Did Street play in the tournament more than his senior year?
Didn't you know that? I don't know. Sorry, I don't have the answer to that.
Because that's what I'm trying to remember just now, whether he was a senior or whether he was underclass. But he really, you could tell he really liked what he saw in Street.
Yeah, I didn't even think about asking him about Chris today. I know Bruce was the year Chris died was the first year Bruce had left. I think that was Bruce's first year at Southern Indiana. So they were together at Iowa for 2 years. Yeah, I guess I didn't even think about asking him. My bad.
If you get to ever interview him again, you might talk about Chris.
Oh, I'm sure. I know. I've seen Bruce quoted before. Speaking highly of Chris Street. Yeah,
very highly.
I just didn't even think about that today. But
so was Bruce drinking a cold beer?
I'm trying to remember now what he was drinking. All I know is he was having some of Babe's delicious. Oh God, what was it?
Lasagna, pizza, lasagna. Babe was my guy.
No. it wasn't pizza. It was some sort of pasta dish, and Bruce made short work of it. He enjoyed every bite. He left his plate. He cleaned his plate.
Babe
Let's
was
say
really
that way.
Babe was really good friends with my father. I mean,
Yeah.
they were really, and he was actually instrumental in helping my father go to Notre Dame and what have you. They were
Really?
very close. Yeah, Babe Bizignano was really close to my father. Yep, I remember going down to Babe's a lot when the place wasn't even open, and we'd go down there and we'd talk to him, and I'd get to eat by myself while my dad was talking to Babe. And, you know, before the restaurant would open or something, I'd go in there and have lasagna or something. I just always remember doing that. Yeah, he was real close with my
So
father.
Babe's daughter opened up a restaurant in the Nickelodeon here for a couple of years.
I think I do remember that. Yeah.
Called Bisignanos.
Yep, Babe was
Yeah, she's a nice lady.
Quite
Yeah,
the
she was.
Babe was quite the character. He was bigger than life.
Oh, he was. He was a great big guy, and it was funny when we'd go up to watch Regina play in the state tournament. My youngest brother would have been, let's see, about 8 to 10 in that range, because Regina went when Mark Gannon was a player 3 out of the 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a hoot, because we'd be in there. He'd come over and pretend like he was going to hit him with a haymaker. And he always would duck.
Yeah, Babe was a big man. He kind of remember Mills Diner, the show,
Yes.
Alice?
Yes.
Kind of reminded me of Vic Tayback a little bit. He did.
I always wanted one of Vic's burgers.
But Babe had a lot of it. Babe knew people at Notre Dame. And if I remember the story correctly, he just said, hey, this family friend of mine, this running back at Dowling here is pretty good. Check him out. And one thing led to another. Next thing you know, my father had a full-ride scholarship to Notre Dame. And
Yep.
I remember
would
Babe.
that have been
19
Frank Leahy? Would he have been
Yes,
his coach?
this was 1944-45, and I remember Babe telling me one time when I was a little kid. He goes, "You know, your dad was the toughest SOB I've ever known," and that's when I knew my dad was tough. When Babe told me that my dad was tough. Yeah, no, I mean,
Sure.
Babe was like a legend growing up in my. I mean, I just remember loving to go down to Babe's before it would open up and get something to eat. So you're bringing back a lot of good memories, caller.
Oh, yeah. When Bettendorf won the state tournament with Denny Thiessen as the coach, I went to that because I'm friends with the O'Brien side of the family, Denny's widow, and Joni. And we were invited then to the celebration party afterwards, and they had it at Babe. And that was a lot of fun.
I'm sure
that
it was.
A great memory.
Yeah, Babe was one of
But,
those old classic Italian restaurants. I mean, I
Yeah.
miss it. I miss it big time.
Yep, I'm.
I miss
there.
him.
Well, I'll let you guys go.
Well, thank you.
thanks so
Appreciate your
much.
call. Really do.
Remember, that restaurant inspired Dennis DeYoung. When he said, "Babe, I'm leaving. I must be on my way."
God, remember that song?
Mm.
Jesus. And you guys get down on my music.
Hello.
Good morning. I have another story for you about Babe.
Okay.
Years and years ago, my grandfather owned a restaurant up in north central Iowa near Fort Dodge.
Okay.
Babe loved to hunt pheasants, but he hated to clean them and cook them. So Babe would come up to the area, he'd hunt pheasants, and then he'd bring them into the restaurant. My granddad would clean them and cook them and serve them dinner. And as a reciprocation, when Granddad ran out of liquor at the restaurant during Prohibition times, he'd go down to Des Moines up the back stairs, and Babe would load him up with what he needed.
Okay. That sounds like a Babe
All
story.
right,
That's a
love
good
it.
one. That's a good one.
Love
I
it.
ran into Babe at the restaurant when he was still alive and still working there one night, and I asked him if he remembered Leonard Anderson. Leonard Anderson. And I said, Skinny. He said, I remember Skinny.
That's a great story.
Great.
No, Babe was bigger than life. He was a Des Moines legend. He really was. I know I'm a little biased, but wouldn't you agree, caller? He was special.
He was, and my granddad was built just like him, a great ox of a guy.
Yeah, Babe was
great
a big
guy, a lot of fun, ran a wonderful restaurant. It's just too bad that the family didn't want to keep that restaurant.
I agree with
you.
you.
They didn't want to do the work.
No, they didn't. And I just loved him because he treated my father with so much respect. He really did.
He treated everybody that
He
way,
did.
and some people extra special.
Yeah, he did.
He and Granddad formed a great relationship, and those are all fun times to remember.
I'm sure they were. Thanks for sharing it.
You bet. Bye.
I don't think I ever ate there.
Oh, it's good. It was good.
Except, I never spent much time in Des Moines
When did it
until Amy.
close? Because I was there.
I don't
Was it
remember.
open in the 80s?
Yeah, it was still open in the 80s. It was your typical, kind of dark inside, with the.
So an old supper club kind of feel.
But the food was so good.
I remember people talking when I was working at KJJY. I remember people talking about it. But.
And he'd literally make the rounds. The owner. He'd go from just like you see and he was bigger than life.
Where was that located?
Downtown.
Keogh Way by?
Right off of Keogh,
Okay.
right in the heart of downtown, right by where the I can't remember the street now. But I can picture the restaurant right. I can picture the Babe sign right there. I was there so many times. And what was like I keep saying, I would go there so often before it would open, because my dad would just go down there sometimes and just shoot the crap with him.
Hello.
Hi, I got more Babe for you.
Okay. All right.
Maybe it was 2nd Avenue. I can't remember what street it was on either. But I'm the same age as Pat, and I'm from Des Moines. And we used to go there all the time. And Babe would always come over and talk to my grandfather. And if I remember the stories right, my grandfather played baseball with Babe.
Okay.
My grandfather played professional baseball back in the old Western League, and he was a catcher. And if I remember right, he played for Omaha, but he lived in Des Moines, and he only played when they came to Des Moines to play an away game. Then he would play and catch, and they had him play because he was such a good hitter. He hit 400 back then. And anyway, Babe would always come over and talk to him, and they'd talk baseball stuff.
Very cool.
No, he was very into baseball. Babe liked all sports. He just liked people. He just had a way of making people around him feel better. He did.
Yeah. Well, if you need a good pizza, there's always Chuck's.
That's true. Chuck's is still around on 6th Avenue out in Highland Park?
Yeah, it's still there.
It's still there. Wow, because my
they're
mom...
closed down for the virus, but they're planning to open back up. And Chuck was Babe's brother, right?
Yes, yep, and Chuck's was my mom. We used to go to Chuck's a lot on Sunday afternoon. We'd go to Chuck's and get pizza. And, God...
Is it good?
Yeah, it was great. They had the shoestring onion rings. And Chuck was a Lacona, wasn't he?
I thought it was...
No, I think Chuck was a Lacona, because remember you had Chuck's and then you had Mama Lacona's on Lower Beaver. Remember you had Mama Lacona's on Beaver and Beaverdale? That's not open. Yeah. I used to live right by Mama Lacona's. I thought they were brothers. And then you had Noah Lacona. Weren't they all brothers?
I couldn't say for sure.
You remember Noah's Ark, though, don't you?
I thought Chuck and Babe were brothers.
But you remember Noah's Ark on Ingersoll. That was another good restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
So you're talking about Mama's Lower Beaver?
Jesus. Get out of the gutter. Captain. Pull this man out of the gutter. We're trying to have an adult conversation. But no, but yeah, this is fun. We've gone from Bruce Pearl to Babe Bizignano. I never thought this would happen.
I'm sure you've been to Graziano's, haven't you, Pat?
Oh yeah. Best sausage in the world. And I'm just sad that Hy-Vee doesn't. Hy-Vee's not carrying any of it right now during the pandemic.
Oh, that's too bad.
And I had to get Spicy Johnson.
I went to McDonald's last night and they didn't have anything. They had the burgers and chicken nuggets, and that was Jan wanted some chocolate chip cookies, and I wanted a frappe and everything. They didn't have any of that.
Well, have you guys ever had Graziano sausage?
I don't know.
I don't
God.
think.
Caller, are you still on?
Yeah.
How good is their sausage?
You haven't had sausage until you've had their sausage.
It's incredible.
I'll have to
and
try
Hy-Vee used to carry it, but they've said since the pandemic hit, they just haven't been able to get it. And oh my God, is it so good?
Yum.
So
yeah, Gino's is another restaurant I miss.
Yeah, Gino's. Their spaghetti sauce, you can get that at Hy-Vee. Their spicy Gino spaghetti sauce. That's what I use all the time. It is incredible. It's really good. Really
My
good.
mother used to make the stuffed ravioli once a month down there.
God, that sounds good. I'm hungry. Okay.
All right, go Polar Bears.
Hey, thanks a lot for the call.
North High Polar Bears. That's my mom's. That's my mom's alma mater.
Bears.
Highland Park is the section of North Des Moines. That's what the Highland Park section. That's where my mom.
I was wondered where Highland Park.
And my mom or my dad grew up on the east side, and then they moved to Beaverdale. I think his junior year of high school.
You said Beaver.
There's a lot of.
I grew up in Beaverdale.
There's a lot of. What are you looking at me?
Man, we only got 15 minutes left.
Hey,
what did I do?
You got some good. No, this one's been fun today.
No, it's been pretty good.
Good calls, great interview.
And I heard of all these restaurants when I worked there, and I was commuting back.
And you didn't go to any of them.
Here. No, the only restaurant I went to the whole 2.5 years I worked there. Well, I don't remember when I got we went to a restaurant, and it was pretty nice, and the food was good. I don't remember what it was.
You didn't go to
And
Babes.
then Trish Yearwood was doing a concert, and we were a country station, and we all ate at Bob Evans.
I ate at a famous Des Moines restaurant once.
What was it called?
I can't remember.
This-
I might have
Rusty
been Babes.
Scupper?
This was
Nope.
this had table, linen on the table and everything when we ate. I don't remember where it was, but it was really good in Des Moines.
Babes is about as famous of a restaurant in Des Moines as you're going to get. I mean, Christopher's. That's another one. Christopher's is
Nope.
in Beaverdale.
Nope.
That's owned by the Judas Hesse family. I went to high school with them at Dowling, and they were good. Joe and my dad went to high school together. Literally, Christopher's was a block and a half from my house. I mean, it was a supper club, steak supper club. Jim Zabel used to hang out there all the time.
Hello.
I was parking cars one time, and Bruce Pearl walked through the parking lot, and I talked to him. You can't believe what he told me, but out of respect to Bruce, I'm not going to tell you.
You got to give him that one. You got to give him that one. You guys knock him when he doesn't produce.
Well, that was.
You got to give him that one.
That was solid.
But it came at the expense of another caller.
That's solid. Well, that's the chances you take.
Chances you take when
That's
you kick our hornet's nest, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Only on this frequency.
But yeah, Babe was a mountain of a man, literally and figuratively. That's how I would describe him. And I know my father just thought the world of him.
We had, in the Quad Cities, we had plantation where they gambled all the time, and they always got raided. And then they'd be closed down for a week, and they'd open up, and they'd gamble again. I mean, that
Is
was
it still
I
open?
Think,
Did you ever go to Big Earl's Gold Mine when you were in Des Moines, Captain?
No.
You
No,
never went
I
there?
only went to two.
I mean, you're
two
just
or
not
three
living
bit-
life. You didn't go to Babes. You didn't
Isn't
go to
that
Big
where
Earl's.
you said Chesty Morgan
Yes.
was?
He didn't-
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
won't go
but
to Babes.
she was in.
You
she
won't-
was in Davenport when we interviewed her.
You won't watch Right Boy Rick, even though when
We came close.
I know you did. When I talked to you on the phone yesterday, Captain, you sounded like you had just gotten done like a 2-week heroin binge. But White Boy Rick was just starting. I was going to tell you, but you sounded like you were going to drop that phone and be right
no,
back to
I was
sleep.
watching a dumb show that he told me to watch, and
Who told you to watch?
I did.
Suter.
What was it?
We liked it. Hollywood.
On Netflix.
Yeah, you'll do shows that Suter tells you to watch, but not me.
I thought it was about Hollywood.
I'm telling you what
It's
White Boy
about
Rick.
Hollywood, but I don't know how. I think it's a lot embellished.
I'm telling White Boy Rick.
It wasn't supposed to be true.
Well, I like true.
No,
I think you and Ann some point you're gonna watch. I think you're gonna watch White Boy Rick.
could
My guess
happen.
is you probably won't like it. You'll but
Don't know what Harty's talking about here. Why he was so excited by this.
you got to Google the story though. You got to Google the story. No, it's a fascinating story, and it just shows how the justice system can really screw you over. In this case, even if you're a white guy.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is a white guy who was treated the same way countless African Americans have been treated by the justice. It was roles reversed, which was kind of fascinating.
Hello.
Good morning, guys. Hey,
Morning.
we had some news last week that got me thinking about how ironic it was when you guys mentioned that the Bix will not be it will be run virtually this year, but there will not be an actual winner. And I thought about how ironic it was because it's opposite of normal, because normally it is actually run, but it's virtually won every year by a Kenyan.
How do you do a virtual race?
They do their time.
They did. They did 1 or 2 years where they made it only Americans could win. You know what the?
If you can't beat them,
yeah.
Bar 'em.
Bar 'em.
Bar 'em, that's, yeah. And I mean, it got, the Kenyans run fast. It's a race. You take your chances.
Well, they run fast over long distances.
Yeah.
You don't see many of them winning 100-yard dashes.
They're not sprinters usually.
No.
Yeah,
so.
But no, these virtual races, you're just going to have to trust that everyone's
that's just
being honest with their time.
No, it's goddamn
It's dumb.
stupid.
It's dumb. I mean,
just cancel the damn thing.
yes, we'll get back to normal at some point. Do we? I mean,
I understand the neat thing, the virtual graduations and posting things. That's cool.
That is cool.
And that's and very nice. But when you have a freaking race,
I love the people on Twitter. If you say, well, I want to trust it, well, then just spend the rest of your life in your basement, you cowardly libtard. There's just people waiting just to launch that attack on you if you have the nerve to say.
Can't wait. Yep.
Let's wait and see what the doctors say.
Yeah.
I want this thing to open up as much as anybody. I want sports.
Everybody does. There's nobody that doesn't want it to open up, but you don't want to get sick and and have a chance to die.
Well, I didn't get a sense that Bruce seems really confident that things are going to be normal by the time. Did you get that sense?
No.
I didn't get that sense at all. I got the sense that
but he showed you can be conservative,
yes,
and still use your brains and be practical.
Right.
Yes, and not think that everything's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that caller was still on. I'm sorry about that. You could have felt free to interrupt us. But no, I thought he gave a really good, sound answer that sort of, to me, appeased both sides of the argument.
Yeah, because you follow science. Hello?
For Pete's sake, Captain, would you just watch White Boy Rick already?
Yes. So I'll stop whining. He will. He said he will at some point. And you'll come back.
I will never, ever watch White Boy Rick.
See, you're
is it a movie?
It's not even 2 hours long.
Never.
Well, there's two things going on here. If you guys would listen to me, you'd know this by now. We've got White Boy Rick, the movie that's out, starring Matthew McConaughey as White Boy Rick's It's about an hour and 50 minutes. White Boy Rick's white father. But then there's also a documentary called just White Boy that, to me, is even better than the movie. It's about an hour and 15 minutes long.
I want to see virtual White Boy Rick.
Well, you could. He's in jail still in Florida. But the documentary is really good because I'm telling you, the corruption in Detroit back then was unbelievable.
Who do you think White Boy Rick would pick to fill Kinney?
Let's see, 80s, mid-80s.
Devo.
No. I'm thinking Motown. He was
Huey Lewis?
No, he was a white guy who hung out with African Americans. I mean, it would be who? What's his name? Who's that white rapper from Detroit?
Eminem?
No, the other one.
Ice,
Baby.
No. There's one left. So the
not Eminem. It's
not Eminem. He even has a song, "Got More Money Than White Boy Rick." What's his name? He did that. He did his own version of "Sweet Home Alabama."
Oh, Kid Rock.
Kid Rock. That's who I think he would pick. They're supposed to be. Kid Rock actually appeared at White Boy Rick's parole hearing, and some people say that hurt White Boy Rick's chance of being paroled.
He was at the Daytona when we were there, and it was the most ridiculous.
Not a fan.
Ridiculous concert because it's Daytona. He's got this major sound system.
Does he sing or does he just yell?
No, he kind of yells.
Oh, did we have a caller on there?
Yeah, it must have been.
I get callers now. Just interrupt us. We're not going to.
Yeah.
We're not going to introduce you. Just interrupt us and tell us to shut up.
Well, it was only on for 4 seconds.
Oh, really? Okay.
Must not have been that funny.
But I mean, he's got this major sound system.
So would Kid Rock Phil Kinnick?
No.
Not at all.
He's got this. Not if you assembled all the white trash in America.
Would Eminem Phil Kinnick?
Yes,
I would say so.
So Eminem's that much bigger than Kid Rock. I'm just asking. I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not aware. I don't follow either one.
Yeah, but he had this major sound system, and it's echoing. You couldn't understand the damn. Honest to God, you couldn't understand the damn thing. Just echoing all over.
Yeah, I've never listened to him. I'm just not into rap. I don't care what kind of rap it is.
Well, Kid
Rock's not rap.
What is he?
I don't know.
He's got songs and
what class is he?
Sort of country.
Sort of country.
Oh, he's country?
But just
sorta?
Real redneck. Real redneck.
Is he more redneck than Ted Nugent?
No,
but he's in the discussion.
Yeah. Well, he visited the White House with Ted Nugent. He was the first guest. That's the first guest you have.
So you think Trump actually listens to Kid Rock? There's no way.
I don't think he
doesn't listen to music.
I don't think he listens to music.
No, I don't think he does.
I've never seen him laugh. I've never seen him
hug his kid.
Doesn't have a dog.
He doesn't. I don't think he even likes dogs. I think they.
No, he says dogs are low class.
And I've never seen him laugh before.
How can you say a dog is low class?
Well, he said dogs are low class?
Low class people have dogs, yeah.
My dogs were not low class. Well, they did rub their butts on the carpet and
so did I. So what?
Do you sniff other humans' poops?
No. But
my dogs never ate other poops. Lakota,
it depends on what kind of carpet.
Lakota would go down. I'd be like, don't even think about it. You're not one of those dogs. And I'm not going to have dogs that eat other dogs' poop.
That was one of my lowest moments in my life. We're visiting our Ann's stepbrother in Des Moines, and they had a dog named Bandit.
From Johnny Quest.
Took a dump and immediately ate it.
Oh, God.
Ate its own poop?
Yes. I mean, immediately after.
It's like a cycle. It's going full circle.
Oh, my God. I just.
Did you want to cuddle with Bandit after that?
Oh, my God. Bandit always wanted to hump me.
See, what kind of dog was Bandit besides strange?
Spaniel, I think.
So it's a small dog.
No, just a mid-sized dog.
Imagine if it would have been like a Saint Bernard. So what did they do? The owners.
But that was one of my lowest moments of my life.
Did you say to the owners, "Hey, your dog's eating its own poop"?
Eating his own poop.
Eating the poop fresh out of his body.
Eating the poop. It's a disease dogs have. It's psychological.
It's called stupidity.
I want it out.
But he wanted.
My dogs never did
But he
that.
wanted to hump you.
It did. Every time I came in, he would. Hey.
Not Ann, just you?
Getting some. No, just me.
Well, that's why you like that Hollywood show. Hello.
So this is just segueing back to the diarrhea.
Yes.
Evidently.
Full circle. Yep.
But that was brutal.
That would be stunning to see. I've never seen that before.
Oh,
did the owners, were they phased, or did they just... Did they tell you that it's saved on dog food?
I honestly don't remember what their reaction was because I was so deeply blown away that it's hard to talk about to this day.
What would you do if you saw Wapsie do that?
I would take her back to the pound.
Yeah, no. Luckily, Lakota, because Lakota used to drop Hindenburgs. I mean, these things were huge. I mean, he'd be gnawing on that thing for a week.
Hello.
Yeah, didn't Bradman do that one time?
Get off. Shut up.
Jeez. Wow. Sorry, Coach Pearl.
Oh, he's long gone. He's not listening anymore. I hope the SID's not. He's like, Jesus, what did I connect him to?
What did I do?
Bradman didn't really do anything like
No.
that. No. Okay, I'm just asking. Just not accusing, just asking.
I wouldn't be completely shocked.
No.
Was fecal ever a discussion point with you guys when you?
No.
Because the morning show at one point was him, and Anthony, wasn't it, Captain?
No, he wasn't on the morning.
He wasn't.
Never.
When was Bradman on?
He was on midday.
Oh, he was on midday. I thought he was part of your morning show
with Natalie Roars.
Oh, okay.
Bradley and
Natalie.
So what do you do during that time now? Is that Lex and Terry?
Midday of Tommy Lang.
Tommy Lang.
Oh, okay. Well, Tommy's from 11 to 1. So that's when Bradman was 11 to 1.
Well, whenever we get,
Okay, all right.
11 to 1, 11 to 2, whatever.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Okay. I just remember going down and doing his TV show at the public access thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One time. He did he kind of pretended to be like David Letterman. Remember that?
And then he borrowed $20.
$20. Yep. Never saw him again.
You've never forgotten that.
And then with interest, that $20 is probably over $100 by now.
Yeah. Oh, he owes me $600.
He and Marty and the Mouth owes you $600, didn't it?
Mouth owes me $600 too.
Yeah.
I probably got a better chance of getting it from Brad than the Mouth.
I would agree, and you're not going to get it from Brad, so I think that shows you your chances.
Yeah, why don't they make a movie, White Boy Mouth? He's going to prison. I think he's in prison.
Oh, I think he is right.
Yeah, I do too.
I think he's waiting for sentencing. Isn't he?
He's waiting for sentencing, but he's locked up. Hello.
Wasn't Brooke on? Or not Brooke. Wasn't Brad on? Was Brooke somebody?
Yeah.
Was it Brooke and Brad show?
It was Brooke and Brad, then it was Bradley and Natalie, and then it was Brad and Kelly, and everybody he worked with quit. They wouldn't work with them.
So did he have a lot of sponsors?
No.
Whatever happened with his business where he would do the breakup messages?
As far as I know, he's still doing them.
Is he really?
Yeah. Yeah, idumpforyou.com.
God, could you imagine doing something?
Yeah.
He always kind of reminded me of Louis Anderson. Didn't he sort of remind you of Louis Anderson a little
Except
bit?
he wasn't funny.
Yeah.
Is Louis Anderson funny?
I think so.
Yeah,
Louis Anderson looks... I would prefer him as a woman over Brad. I could take you to some websites with Brad. Bradman was in some.
I don't need
Bradman
to go to
was in some actual, I think it was Netflix. It was either Netflix or Amazon where he's a female.
Is he in California?
No, he's in Chicago now.
Oh. But Louis Anderson used to do stand-up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do remember a couple times laughing at some of his stand-up.
Yeah. I like stand-up. I don't watch it all that much, but I like stand-up.
I like good stand-up.
I never liked.
Remember Jake Johansson?
No.
Nope.
You don't. Neither one. I can't believe he was from Iowa City. He did the Tonight Show, Letterman. Neither one of you guys remember Jake? Interesting. Google him, Captain. You'll be surprised that you don't remember him or that you never heard of him. Yeah, he was a regular on those, and he was originally. I think he was originally from Des Moines, if I remember. Then he came up here and then kind of launched his career when he was living here, if I remember correctly. He used to do Letterman all the time, and I know he was from Iowa. To me,
Johansson.
Stand-up comedy would be so hard.
Yeah,
unless you
attended
just have
Iowa State University
was it Iowa
in
State?
the early '80s, majoring in veterinary medicine, then chemical engineering.
Wow.
Then when did he become a comedian? Because he was pretty good. I remember him. He was kind of low key. Wasn't real demonstrative on stage.
He started his own HBO special. He started in '86.
Okay.
Had his HBO special in the 1990s. This will take about an hour, which was listed as one of the best television shows by People magazine in 1992.
I just remember he did a lot of late show stand-up
94, best male stand-up comedian. According to Jerry Seinfeld,
I thought he went to Iowa.
Johansson was originally wanted for the role of George Costanza, but he refused the part.
Wow. And never heard of again?
He starred in the comedy special I Love You on Showtime. He was the star headliner at the inaugural Iowa Comedy Festival, a favorite of David Letterman, and appeared 40 times.
Jesus.
He and his wife have one child.
No, he missed out on some money there, but he did okay for himself. He really did.
See what his net worth is.
Yeah, see what it is. I'm curious. Because he is not. I have not heard hide nor hair of him for years.
Well, I've never heard of him.
I
didn't watch.
Yeah,
Letterman,
I'm more stunned that Captain Steve had never heard of him, as much as he's been on Letterman and.
Yeah, but I work in the morning.
You never.
I love Letterman.
But yeah, he was pretty big for a while.
1.2 million.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay.
I wouldn't mind it.
1.2 is all right.
Well, yeah, but that's not. Hell, if you
it's not.
If you figure this damn thing, if you figure this in, I'm worth.
Got to have someone
probably worth more than that.
That's if somebody would pay for it, though, right? Got to have someone pay for it to be.
Yes.
To be worth something, doesn't it?
No, it's what it's appraised at, what the stock's worth.
Okay, but if nobody's willing to pay for it, then.
Yeah.
Then Steve will be
on
then
for
I'll
his
be
56th
year.
I'll be Randy Quaid.
Because I just got my house at appraised at something I'd love to,
Actually,
but if I can't.
I'd still be better off than Randy Quaid because I got a house.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, where's Randy Quaid live now? He's on Twitter all the time.
He's living. Last time I remember.
Is it Maine?
Yeah, but like somebody's letting him live in their guest house or something.
Well, he was in Canada. Didn't he have to flee for a while?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He and his wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's way out there.
He's way out there.
He's like that Jones guy for WikiLeaks or whatever. What's that Alex Jones guy?
No.
Isn't that his name?
Yeah, but Alex Jones, Alex Jones is full of crap and everything.
So is Randy Quaid, isn't he?
Well, Randy Quaid's nuts. I don't know that Jones is not. He's evil, Jones, but I don't know.
Well, isn't he the one
crazy.
who tried to say that Sandy Hook was a?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and he got sued for it.
He should get sued for it. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
How many kids died?
He's a piece of crap.
Why would somebody do that though? What I don't know. How did he gain from that? Why would you push that narrative? I don't get that.
I don't know.
Because you're a piece of crap, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're nuts. Randy Quaid is nuts, and that is
broke.
That is a medical.
Diagnosis
from me. That's the Alex Jones net worth.
I bet it's more than we would like.
I'd bet $20 million.
Is he on InfoWars? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I've never been on. I don't even know what that is. How's he doing?
He's still alive. He's still alive, and he's still recording the show. So
I mean,
he's doing pretty good. But you know, when you get that, you usually a lot of people. $21 million.
He's worth $21 million. Think about that, Tom.
I thought 20, so I was very close.
$21 million just spewing just
nonsense, spewing lies.
Interesting. So, let's see, sports-wise, football.
Yeah, just
nothing. Have they got? I don't even have they've no recent commitments.
No.
They've made some offers to some people, which is an ongoing process, of course. Trying to think if there's been anything else of.
And there's been no more discussion about June 1st as a start things back up.
Well, I mean, I think we're going to get to June 1st, and I think, I have not seen anything about moving anything back, but, I mean. Nacho Mama's. That used to be
great long-gone Mexican restaurant in Des Moines.
Yeah, I used to go there all the time. It was right next door to Spaghetti Works and Julio's, right on Court Avenue. What made you think of that?
Somebody in the chat room just posted it.
Yeah, been there many
Spaghetti
times.
Works is meh.
I used to bartend there.
It's okay.
Yeah. It is all right. I mean, you couldn't beat the price. $3.99 for all the spaghetti you wanted.
The price was great.
And I love their red clam sauce. Oh, my God.
Adolph's Taco House. We used to go there in high school in the Quad Cities, and they had like 2 or 3 of them.
Do you remember Guido's, the prime rib joint in Des Moines? Guido's?
No.
Yeah.
They had really good prime rib, and for high school senior prom, I think
I did eat there.
We had high school senior prom. We went there, and one of my buddies was not a big prime rib fan, and they brought out his prime rib, and he said, "Hey, could you bring some ketchup out for me?" And the guy's like, "Why? You don't have a..."
Isn't that around in the 60s?
I believe so. And he goes, "You don't have any French fries?" He's like, "Well, I want to use it to dip my prime rib to..." The freaking chef came out and was so pissed off. He's like, "You're going to dip prime rib into ketchup?" And they were offended. They thought thought that was rude.
Mosqueda and I and a bunch of other guys went and ate at Guido's when we were in college.
They had really good prime rib. Another good restaurant in Des Moines from the day is Barada's. They used to have great food too. But Babe's and Christopher's were always my favorite, just due to personal reasons, and they both had great food.
We ate at this Adolph's Taco House when we were in high school, and they shut her down and found out they were mixing like Alpo, some kind of.
Jesus.
Seriously, it was delicious. And then they shut it.
Then you started shedding?
They shut it. I swear to God, they shut it down for like a month. The Board of Health went in there, and then they started using meat, and we didn't think it was as
good.
We didn't think it was as good.
Wow.
What does that say about you guys?
I don't know.
What was Chipotle's problem? What did they have?
They had the equipment wasn't right, and it was distributed nationally, the same equipment.
And they weren't storing things right, were they?
They weren't storing things
at right temperatures?
The temperatures weren't, the refrigeration units they bought weren't, nothing was proper when they set up these things.
And then they had health inspectors find a bunch of nasty stuff. Because I will admit, prior to that, I loved Chipotle.
I have never eaten it.
I loved it. I loved it, and I've never been back since then. And I know I'm a weirdo, and I'm sure there's stuff.
I think they've re-equipped.
I'm sure
everything.
They probably have. Yeah. I'm sure they're not out there serving poop.
I will say the last time I ate at Taco Bell, it was not good.
No,
it was not good.
Was it during the pandemic?
No.
Because I've always gotten great service from the run right over here on Highway 6.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the service. The food wasn't good.
Oh, the food wasn't?
It wasn't good. And it used, I don't know. It's so weird because they can't get supplies. They can't get they're ordering from different places, and now, the trucks aren't running. I mean, McDonald's last night didn't have anything. I mean, it had its burgers. You could get its burgers, but it didn't have the large menu it usually has. Yeah. It didn't have the, frappe that I wanted.
I haven't been to McDonald's since the pandemic.
Yeah.
No,
I haven't either.
Yeah.
I really haven't been anywhere other than Hy-Vee to get groceries. Today I'm going to I got a chicken kebab, a pork chop, and 3 chicken legs I'm going to cook on the grill. And
I mean, we get food for carry out 2 or 3 times a week, I would say.
Yeah, we do too.
I miss Ariza. I should probably do Ariza.
We did Ariza last week. Real good.
I miss their Empress chicken. I love their Empress chicken.
I'm going to go to get to carry out from Midtown.
Carry out my wayward son.
There'll be peace when you are done.
Let's take this call and end on a real strong note.
Yeah, this is going to.
This will be strong. I can sense it.
This is going to take us to new heights.
Yes.
Hello.
2 more really good restaurants in Des Moines, Johnny's Vets Club.
Yep.
And Richelli's.
You're right on both. I've been to both. And how about Chicago Speakeasy?
Yeah, that was okay.
Okay.
It didn't hold up a candle to those two.
No, you're right about Johnny's Veg Club. Johnny's Veg Club was really good.
A real character of a place down by the old concrete ready-mix place out in the flats.
Yep, know it well.
And ran by a somewhat nefarious person.
I've heard that too. But boy, this is bringing back memories. It
Somebody
really is.
just
Thanks, caller.
Messaged us. I don't check Messenger usually, so if you're...
Johnny's Veg Club was good.
Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark, that's the Lacona family. Noah's, Chuck, and Mama Lacona's.
And Johnny and Kay's.
Okay, yeah.
Noah's Ark might have been the...
Right on Ingersoll.
The famous one that I
Just
ate
west of downtown.
Hello.
The Langenberg family swears by the Chicago Speakeasy.
No, it's good, too.
That previous caller can go to hell.
The Langenberg family, in all fairness, does swear a lot.
Oh, yeah. I won't right now.
Speakeasy has a great prime rib special. At least they used to.
Oh, yeah.
They used to. And I like the decor. It's in Highland Park, too. It's on the north side of Des Moines, right on Euclid Avenue, going up the hill there on Euclid. No, it's a good place.
Oh, it's great.
Yep. Should we end it with Tommy?
Let's end it with Tommy.
Yeah.
Coming up next, Molly Suter.
Thanks, everyone, and thanks again to Coach Pearl for being on. Really appreciate it.
1630 KCJJ.com. Powered by the Dollar Tree at the Iowa City Marketplace.
With a look at your forecast, I'm meteorologist Ashley O'Connor. Mainly cloudy today with breezy north winds. A few spotty showers are